Okay, cool. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the latest episode of Muscle Owl Talks. This is maybe a special episode because what we're doing here is this is Michaela talking about a topic, but I think these kind of talks, these specific ones, actually have a real potent and valuable use. That if somebody's maybe just been diagnosed with a condition, what we're saying here is, what would you say? Like, what advice would you give to somebody who's just been diagnosed with A, B, or C? And in this case, because it's currently, right now, when we're recording this, you might be listening to this in the long future, but it's 2017 and it's SMA Awareness Month, August 2017. And Michaela, currently, for this episode of Muscle Our Talks, 27 years old, 28 years old.
Going on a year either. 27.
I got it in the middle, yeah. I know. Because people keep aging, and I'm like,
well, yeah.
It's not like a year to me. So everyone has to keep up with years. And I'm like, okay, now this person's, they were this. So what do they know?
After June, the last digit of the year is the last digit of my age.
Oh. Okay. That's good. Yeah. Okay, I've got it now. And every year that goes by, you get another year on your age. Wow, that's amazing. These human beings, they got some weird traits. Yeah. So essentially, Michaela is 27 and she has spinal muscular atrophy type 2. But I'm something else age. And my brother has Duchenne muscular dystrophy, but that's got nothing to do with this episode. Michaela, we were going to say, because it's SMA Awareness Month, what would you say to somebody, because actually this always gets mixed in with, actually, if your child, what would you say to someone whose child has been diagnosed maybe yesterday with spinal muscular atrophy and they know nothing about the condition? And then maybe what would you say to somebody who has a child who was diagnosed a year or two ago, and you've got these two people and they're thinking about their children in 10 years time or in 5 years time, or what advice would you give them as to how they might grow and the things they can accomplish and how to go about that?
I think the absolute first thing is, don't think your child's gonna die. Doctors will tell you that. Don't believe it.
Well, in fact, I'll just interject. Everyone's going to die.
Everyone's going to die.
I'll take the opposite a bit for that. I think we're saying the same thing here.
But I think the difference is that, especially if your child's diagnosed with type 1, they're going to give you 8 months at the most. Don't believe it. It's rubbish. I know a young man in America who's 20 years old, and he's type 1. It is not unfeasible that your child will live to 80 or 100 or 200. You never know what age we might get to by then. So, my sister died when I was 6, and
she was 14.
She was 14, and I went through this phase of trying.
In fact, let's just say you have type 2. She had type 2 as well. So there
was a good 9 year gap between me and Martina, and that gives rise to new technology. I'm alive because of the technology that would have saved her life, and there will be someone else behind me who will be alive because of the technology that would have saved me in the future. But I went through this phase of trying to understand her death and digest it as best a 6-year-old can. And I remember one day, going, Mum, when am I going to die? Am I going to die when I'm 14 too? When I'm 20 days off my 15th birthday, I thought that would be the day I would die. And Mum said, well, how many people do you know that are 100? And I can't think of any, even now. I don't know anyone who's 100. Nobody lives forever, but you've got to live within the realms of what you've got. So, I guess that's number one. Don't forget that your children could live. Treat them as if they are, because at the end of the day, they've got to be able to live and live a life that's productive. Our doctors that 9 times out of 10 have their hands tied. There's very little I can do at the moment other than Spinraza. But I like to know that they're giving treatment to someone who is actively living their life and not existing. So whether that be a walk to the park every week, or whether that be enjoying a Disney film, or maybe it's enjoying lights, it can be anything, or for me it's being a renegade. So, it can be anything, but make sure that you teach your kids that there is a life to be lived, not a life to exist for. And that's a big thing. And I think very often we try and bubble wrap our type 1 children, and to a degree, yes, don't touch them until you've washed your hands and do all the precautions you need to do, but let them live too. They may die tomorrow, they may die in 10 years, they may die in 50 years, but let them live in that time.
In fact, I will just say, in terms of, because you mentioned bubble wrap children, and I often think, and then you mentioned the kind of the health aspects of it. I often think it's best to think of it like bubble wrap your children in the perspective of their physical disability, but mentally just push them into doing all the things. So I think that separation.
Yeah, I think it's about putting them in a bubble, not bubble wrapping them. Put them in a little protective bubble that keeps them healthy, absolutely.
And push that bubble out right out.
Yeah, in the bubble room. Think of Bubble Boy. Bubble Boy is an actual real person that lived inside the bubble, because he had he didn't really have an immune system, and he did eventually die from an infection, but he lived inside this bubble and lived a kind of fully normal life, kind of. So it is very possible. I certainly do that. There's things health-wise. I hand masks out to people when they come in and start coughing. I'm like, here you go, masks, stick it on. So there are precautions you can have right still allowing your child to live. It's living that life that's important, not existing it.
What would you say to other parents that you'd say, oh, actually, my parents did this, and I think this is a good idea. Like, it's a good way to be.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose it is. I've always said quality of life is subjective. For some people, living in bubble wrap is a quality of life. But don't be afraid to push for more. Never be afraid to push for more. And that includes telling doctors they're wrong, because unfortunately, in our way of life, they can be wrong. They often are wrong. In some shape or form, so don't be afraid to push the boat out a little bit there. And it happens, and it's forgivable because they're human beings, they're not machines. And even when you send a sample to the lab's not a machine. The lab is going to get things wrong around them. So we're living in the realms of non-error, but live a life. Whatever that life is to you. Live that life. But I think finally, kids grow up and they start asking these awkward questions that you don't want to answer. Answer them truthfully. Don't pretend things aren't the way they are, because they are the way they are. And your child will pick up a phone or an iPad and they will Google. Don't let Google tell them, and you let them perceive it as a lie. Tell your kids, tell them the truth in a gentle, comfortable, nice, happy way. It might sound really ludicrous now, but when your child starts asking, will I be able to walk if I have a walking stick? Which I did.
Wow.
I know my mum laughed. I'm like, yeah, right behind it. I soon figured out that wasn't going to happen.
Yeah.
But kids ask all questions.
Yeah.
Be truthful with them, tell them, no, that's not going to happen, but you can do this, and this.
Yeah. I would also say it's important to say, in the scientific nature of things changing all the time, we don't know. Like, that's what was always said to my brother and to us. We don't know. This is the way we think things are, and this is what a lot of people say, that things are changing all the time.
Yeah, I think in the SMA community, especially around the cusp of great things. We look at something like Pompe disease. Pompe is another kind of muscle wasting condition caused by the storage of glycogen in muscles. And it caused the heart to swell and break down, and by the time you were 9, you were dead, by and large. So they found a cure for that. And that, well, I say a cure, a treatment. They have a treatment that draws the glycogen out of the muscles, breaks it down, and the kids get a sugar rush, and they're okay. That is something that actually in the literature looks quite like SMA in many respects, except for the heart problems. So yeah, it's not out of the realms of possibility that your child could have been diagnosed today and tomorrow your doctor could call and say, hey, we have something.
Yeah.
And it's not out of the realms of possibility. So we already have Spinraza. You have to make decisions like that based on your own, whether it's the right thing to do or not. For most people, it probably will be the right thing to do.
Yeah.
I'm still having that debate with myself, whether or not it's the right one for me, whether or not we can really get it in safely, and it's worth all the infection risk. But you'll very quickly learn how to measure the risk and the benefit of various things.
Yeah.
But above all, live your life.
Yeah.
Live it normally.
Absolutely. And in fact, one thing I'd say, which would be, I think, a good point to finish on is, I think a lot of, well, we talk a lot about ableism and things like being able to see, differentiate health from disability, which I think a lot of people, I mean, if your child's been diagnosed yesterday and you've no knowledge of SMA thus far, I think, the idea of health and disability will be intertwined as to, one and the same, quite likely. How would you say, in terms of ableism and in terms of just separating who you are from your disability, but at the same time being proud of who you are, and at the same time explain your thing of, I'm not disabled, it's society that disables me?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I use a wheelchair. I was thinking the other day, we have people in society that wear glasses. They wear glasses to read, or they wear glasses all day long. It depends. And I really can't see the difference between that and me using a wheelchair. They're using a pair of glasses so they can see. Now, I'm also deaf. I could quite easily tomorrow choose to chuck the hearing aids in the bin. I don't do that. But I could, in theory, just chuck them in the bin. But I don't, because it's an aid that helps me. Just like a pair of glasses, just like my wheelchair, it is an aid. And that is all it is. But at the same time, it's an extension to my body, so don't mess with it, because it's part of me. It literally does at times feel like I'm a cyborg, but a good cyborg. It enables me to do what I need to do. The wrong type of chair, I can't type. I'm very dependent on position and all sorts of things. So, my identity is solely formed as part of this wheelchair. There are very, very few pictures of me not in a wheelchair. There's one that I know of that I've probably posted on social media at some time. And I literally look like I've been falling down on myself. And it's only for that I actually identify with that picture, because there's still physical evidence of the fact that there's something not quite right with the muscles here. And I think if you took me away from all of that, I would lose my sense of identity. It would be like someone going into a wheelchair after living 27 years of life in what we as society term normal or normality. So my normality is very different to someone else's. Again, that's no different than every other human being. Everyone's normality is different. But I think we should be open to the fact that my normality isn't yours. And when you have a child that's on Spinraza, SMA is still going to be part of their identity, because they've got the treatments too. That's not going to change. That's, even if we get gene therapy and we've got genetic cures down the line, I still don't think SMA can be removed from a person's identity. It's there. It's already ingrained. It's a little seed that's been planted. And that's always going to be there. But identity is what identity is. We each find our little spot within it where we're comfortable, and we stay there. Obviously push boundaries, but people are human. Treat them as humans and worry about the rest later, and let them let them be the master of their own destiny.
Yeah.
To a degree.
And I think the most important thing to say is, like, you have SMA, and in terms of your health, sometimes that's really annoying. But in terms of the way it makes you a disabled person, you're completely happy with that. You're completely fine with yourself, aren't you?
Yeah, I don't want to work.
What someone whose kid has just been diagnosed, that'll never go through their mind, will it?
No, absolutely not. But trust me, your child could very well get to my age. I know a whole bunch of them, hundreds of them, who go, I don't want to work.
Mm.
And I know a bunch of them that go, even with like some sort of ability to stand or whatever, be able to do things easier. But 9 times out of 10, I don't want to work.
Mm.
I just don't want to. I don't like the idea of it. Probably part of it relates to traumatic experience in childhood when I got stood up and broke my feet, and I don't want to do that again. So probably part of it relates to that, but I don't want to work. I can do everything I can do sitting down. Yeah. And it might sound like a bit of something out of a Pixar film where everyone sits down and doesn't work.
A future Pixar film that they've not made yet.
I know a Pixar film that they have made yet. You just haven't seen it. But yeah, it's just, that's who I am. When I like better health, absolutely. I want to be able to remain healthy, but at the minute I don't have anything that's going to give me that. So I do what I can and try my best to stay healthy and don't touch too many surfaces when I'm out, and try and keep my hands clean so that we're not catching bugs out of nowhere. But at the same time, I don't particularly ever want to work.
Yeah. Wow. Wonderful episode. That's a Muscle Owl Talks classic right there. Yeah.
I want a treatment, but I don't want to work.
There we go. There we go.
I'll take a bit of extra arm strength so I can give high fives. for my lost ability to do the YMCA, I've always wanted to do it again, so that's my lifelong goal.
Michaela just wants to do the YMCA, that's all. And in fact, the line to finish on is your line that you say, I don't want to be fixed, I just want to be healthy. But maybe you do want to be fixed in order to do the YMCA.
No, it's not really a fix. It's just a bit of extra strength. Extra shoulder strength would be nice, but yeah, I don't need to be fixed, but I need a fix to let me do the YMCA. That's why I don't understand actually. But it's true, and I'd be quite happy if all I could ever do in the future was do the YMCA.
Awesome. What a way to finish an episode.
Or the Macarena, maybe.
Wow. Yeah. That's different muscles. We'll get working on those fixes. That's the first Muscle Owl research project we might fund.
I can do the Macarena.
That's it. Awesome. Right. We'll catch you all soon. Remember to like, subscribe, and all the other things.
And do the YMCA for me.
Bye, guys.